Welcome to God the Creator's podcast. I am your host, Manifestation Coach Kiana Devine. And today, like every other day, we are talking about how to design your dream life, the ultimate freedom formula. And more specifically, I'm really excited because we're going to get the opportunity to talk about a juicy topic. It kind of is like the action steps to put everything together to make it more realistic. We're talking about how important it is and how to develop processes, formulas, SOPs, rituals, routines, all of that good stuff. So I'm really excited to get into this podcast with you guys today. So how to design your dream life. We all want that picture perfect life, and it doesn't necessarily have to be picture perfect like cookie cutter, like the American dream. It just has to be picture perfect for us, like the most idealistic things in that life that is going to make it favorable for us. And so the ultimate freedom formula is teaching you how you can apply action in order to provide yourself that freedom, because the dream life is equivalent to having freedom. Having freedom, having more time, being able to do what it is that you want to do, still be able to take care of your family, and like cross all the T's and dot all the I's. So, with developing formulas, strategies, SOPs, standard operating procedures, routines, rituals, whatever you want to call it, a process with doing that is going to give you a surefire way of obtaining what you want. There was something said to me recently that really stuck with me. Was actually something that we talked about in last week's podcast, and it was the 5 P's. Okay, what are the 5 P's? Promise to pay people for their proven process. Promise to pay people for their proven process, which comes down to, if you don't have a proven process, if you don't have something that's tested and tried, then you're not going to know what route to take to get to where you want to get to. If you don't have a roadmap, how are you supposed to know how to get there? You have to have some type of structure, some type of discipline in order to activate these things in your life. So right now, the problem that we're all having is that we all have is we make excuses. Some of us make excuses for everything. We get overwhelmed. We make so many excuses that we put ourselves in a negative frequency. Then we wind up getting overwhelmed. We wind up getting frustrated, and then we want to give up. Then there comes confusion. Okay? So when you have all these negative energies around you, you begin to get confused and things are cloudy. And then you all is within. You really have the answers. You are everything that you need, right? But you find yourself in a place of, you don't know where to go anymore. You don't know where to start. You just don't know how you got here, and you don't know how to get from here. And one of the main reasons that this happens is because we are easily distracted, right? There's so many different things that can distract us and take our attention, and we're not able to focus, face one course until satisfied. We don't face one course until satisfied. We have 1,000 different courses that we try to get on every single day, and we never really finish one course because we don't face it until satisfied. So distractions is one of the main problems, right? And then like lack of self-discipline. We really don't love ourselves as much as we think that we love ourselves, or we would not allow ourselves to flop around so many times. Because one who really loves themselves really knows that being able to check something off of the list, being able to successfully complete a goal makes you feel good. Every time that you're able to complete something, you give yourself a pat on the back, and it allows you to gain more satisfaction with yourself. It allows you to trust yourself a little more. What if every time you set out for something, you never complete it, you never finish it? That happens over and over and over again. When you put the next thing in front of you, you're not going to trust that you're able to get that done. But what if you have a track record of completing things, crossing things off your list? staying in the race until it's done, not being a giver upper. If you can look back on your life and realize that you have stayed the test of time, you are worthy, that you actually show up when you're supposed to, you actually show up for yourself. You actually don't let yourself down. If you have a track record of these things, of showing up and being present, then you know that you can trust yourself to show up and be present. That means that in that area of your life, you are confident. You're confident that you know you're going to show up for yourself. Okay. But the same thing goes for the opposite. If you don't show up for yourself, you're not going to be confident in those areas of yourself. So today I'm going to offer you an understanding, and then I'm going to offer you strategies in order to, get these things going for yourself. Okay. Now, I want you to understand that first thing I want you to understand is that a you need to have a formula for how you think about your life. The formula that I offer my clients is the 10 dimensions of wellness. Okay. And the 10 dimensions of wellness are all the compartments of your life. And if you touch on all of those and you add value to all of those, you pretty much will be a well-rounded individual. Now, don't forget that we're talking about how to create the ultimate freedom. This is the freedom formula. In order to be free, you must have structure. In order to be free, you must have discipline. In order to be free, you must tackle each and every section of your life. Now, those 10 dimensions are, write this down, this is good stuff. All right, so this is good stuff. 10 dimensions of wellness. Remember, these are all the compartments of your life. So if you tackle these, not saying that they need to be tackled equally, but they do need to be balanced according to what you need in your life, okay? These are in no particular order. This is just how I'm blessed to give them to you. Creative dimension, material dimension, intellectual dimension, spiritual dimension, social dimension, financial dimension, environmental dimension, mental health, physical health, and occupational. These are all the areas that if you tackle all these areas, this is your whole life. This covers everything. So in order to know what to do and how to start, you have to have some type of foundation. And our foundation today in almost every day is our 10 dimensions of wellness. These are the things that keep us grounded, keep us sane, and give us a purpose for living. Okay. Now, creating SOPs for your life. What are SOPs? SOPs are a business way of saying, this is the process of how we do things. So SOP stands for Standard Operating Procedures. Throughout this podcast, you'll hear me use these words interchangeably, but these are all synonyms. SOPs, rituals, processes, structure, discipline, schedule, plan, formula. All of those are synonyms, okay? They all mean the exact same thing. The question is, what's going to bring you happiness in these areas of your life? See, number one, you have to realize that the goal is happiness. Everything that we do it with the intention of being fulfilled, and that leads to happiness. Everything that we do it so that we could be happy. Everything that we want it so that we could be happy. So this means we are all in the pursuit of happiness. We all do everything just to be happy. So now that we know that, ourselves what's going to bring us happiness in these different areas of our lives. If you know that you could not fail at all, what would you want? What would be the optimum peak performance of all these areas in your life? All right. You have the capability of doing that because, as I state in every podcast, my quote is, man is the maker of his own reality through his daily ideas, his daily choices, his daily decisions and thoughts, his daily attention and rituals, his daily perspectives and perception, his daily beliefs, attention, and his daily knowledge. So any of those being tackled is going to lead to changing your whole world. Let's get into how you can do this, okay? You can change your entire world and create procedures, standard operating procedures, rituals for yourself, routines for yourself by tapping into the power of the routines. Okay. Now, the power of the routines is something that we go through thoroughly in the full course, but I'm going to go through some of them with you quickly. All right. So there are routines for every single thing out here in the world. This world is full of amazing people, and amazing people have created routines that work for them in their lives. You have professional routines, you have life routines, you have healthy life routines, student routines. Okay. Basically, a routine, let's define what a routine is. A routine is a schedule that you follow every day. All right. So some of the major, most popular routines are morning routines, workout routines, nighttime routines, and even money routines, as well as daily routines. Those are the most popular categories for routines. Now, under each one of those categories, there are thousands of routines that different people follow that are congruent with their lives. Some of the most profound routines that I've found that was really interesting are healthy life routines, student routines, professional routines, productivity and organizational routines, happiness and well-being routines. Like, guys, they have routines out here that you perform just so you could be happy every day. I was like, oh my God, like, are you freaking serious? It's certain things you can do throughout your day specifically to be happy. Very, very interesting. We have relationship and social life routines, goals, achievement, and success routines, high energy routines. They have specific steps that you could take that will allow you to have high energy throughout the day. I think it's amazing. We have home and family routines, action taking routines, social adult routines, emotional routines. Like, if you are an over emotional person, which means a person who has or displays more emotion than the average person, there's a routine out there for that to handle that. So, the whole point is for you to figure out what's going to make you happy in all the areas of your life and figure out a routine in order to fulfill that part of your life, and in order to fulfill that part of your life. The basics of this, how you do your routine, is a few steps. I have a few steps for you on how to figure out kind of what you want and what's the most important thing. Is step number 1. Make a list. Make a list of everything that you want in the particular dimension. As an example, if we are focused on our financial dimension, right? We'll take a piece of paper, write financial dimension on top, or finances, and make a list of that dimension of what you think you need to do in order to get your finances how you want it to be. What this does is it creates focus. Now, the simplistic mind would say, I don't know what I need to do in order to get my finances where it needs to be. But the real answer is all is within. You really do know where you're slacking already in the life that you have. You really do know where you could do better. You really do already know these things. So since you really do know these things, write this list out. Okay? So you're going to create a list. Step number 2 is we're going to use the 80-20 rule. This is where you prioritize your list. 80-20. And that means that 80% of the stuff that's on your list is not highly important. 20% of the stuff on your list is highly important and effective. If you were to do these specific things, it's going to impact everything else. So we want to prioritize our list using the 80-20 rule. Work on the most important things first, okay? Ask yourself, what is the most valuable use of my time? Okay? Ask yourself, what impact is this going to have on my future? That is how you prioritize what you're going to work on in your list. Number 3, we're going to organize a plan of action from A to Z, creating a ritual, okay? Creating somewhat of a ritual. So I know I have to do this in order to do this, and this in order to do this, and this in order to do this. Creating a plan A to Z, creating a ritual for yourself. The best way to do this is step number 4, focus and concentration. How do we focus and concentrate? I have 2 tips for you in this area. Focus. Remember, focus stands for face one course until satisfied. So, how are you going to focus? Tip number 1 is to set a timer. If you have a timer set, it creates urgency, and it also allows you to focus on that one thing because you're on a timer. Tip number 2 for focusing, reward yourself. You reward yourself by taking a break. This could be a 5-minute break, a 10-minute break, or a 15-minute break, so that when you come back from that break, you're powered up to focus on the next thing, and you're going to work at your highest level of performance. Number 5, you are going to schedule and set deadlines, okay? When you schedule this routine, you're going to work off of a time log. So you're going to set a time log for this routine. One thing that I heard a very successful person say, they said, successful people spend their time in minutes, and poor people spend their time in hours, weeks, months, and years. So it's very important that if you want to be successful, spend your time in minutes. That means that you should have a certain time that you set to do this specific task, and it should be in minutes. It should not be in hours. It should not be in days or weeks or months or years. It should be in hours. And this is done, it should be in minutes. And this is done so that you can easily focus on it because you know you need to get it done. And this is also done so that you can make yourself feel more successful psychologically. If you're crossing things off your list, you feel more successful. You start to trust and believe in yourself a little more. Along with having a time slot to do this thing, it should have a deadline. Now, the deadline to be complete with this project is not necessarily going to be today. The deadline will be somewhere in the future to be done with the complete project, because a lot of our projects are mini tasks. So we have one big full project that we're working on, but it's broken down into mini tasks that will eventually get done in the future. So a question to ask yourself when scheduling is how I'm spending my time congruent to my major goals? Is how I'm spending my time congruent to my major goals? That's a great question to ask yourself. Now, next, we want to talk about delegating and outsourcing. Now, what this means is when you are setting all this routine up, you want to see, what part of this do I really need to be present for? What can make my load a lot lighter for me? Am I able to delegate? Am I able to outsource? In order to delegate and outsource, of course, you're going to have to do research on how you can properly and effectively delegate and outsource these things. You also want to consider what you want done and pick the right person to do it. So this is all about developing SOPs, aka processes, aka formulas, aka rituals, aka routines for your life. I highly encourage you to listen to this podcast over and over again because it does provide a lot of valuable information. Also, you can purchase the full course where we go into all of this information in great detail. Links will be in the description box below for you to, Design your dream life. This is the ultimate freedom formula. Today, we discuss developing SOPs, strategies, processes, formulas, and routines for your life. If a man stands for nothing, he will fall for anything. I am your manifestation coach, Kiana Divine. And guess what? I will see you next week for the next podcast, God the Creator's Podcast. Bye.